Phil Twyford.
A longer call is fine, Mr. Chairman. It's fine.
I've got my watch.
Okay. Well, now we are getting to the nub of the problem. Now we are getting down to brass tacks. Because on that side of the House, the view represented by the Honourable Nick Smith is basically trust a failed market and blame the councils. That is the National Government's housing policy. Trust a failed and failing market and blame the council. That is all that the National Government is willing to do. They wash their hands of any responsibility, any obligation to actually roll up their sleeves like previous governments have done over the decades and do something substantial to actually build affordable houses. Because as far as Nick Smith's concerned, no, the government has no control whatsoever about the price of houses. The government has no ability to deliver affordable housing to the people of New Zealand. They have washed their hands and they are putting all their faith in a failed market, and they're not prepared to intervene to fix a failed market. And that is the difference, because on this side of the House we will not stand by while speculators outbid first home buyers. We will not stand by and watch a failed market drive first home buyers out of the market. We will not stand by as another generation of New Zealanders is denied the dream of home ownership, because all that the National Government is willing to do is tinker with the RMA, and blame local government for a problem that is largely the fault of the economic settings that this government has refused to tackle. That is hands-off government from the National Party. We do not subscribe to that philosophy. We are willing to use all the powers available to us when we're in government to build 100,000 affordable homes. We will reform the Resource Management Act by producing a national policy statement on affordable housing. We will intervene in the market. We will use Crown land, as we would have at Hobsonville, to deliver a high-quality new urban development that included social housing, affordable housing for first home owners, and open market housing. Minister, you and your Prime Minister chose to drive out social housing and affordable housing from the biggest, finest opportunity for urban development in Auckland in decades, in Hobsonville, and you bear responsibility for that. And it will always be the Minister, Mr. Chairman, and the Prime Minister who will bear the shame of having said that it would be economic vandalism to allow state housing or affordable housing on Hobsonville, because low to middle income New Zealanders, according to this National Government, should never have houses on land that has a view of the sea. That is the operating principle of the National Party. Well, we do not subscribe to that, sir. We believe that it is the role of government to improve people's lives, and we will intervene in the housing market. We will use the balance sheet of the Crown that will be fiscally neutral over 10 years to stimulate the building of 100,000 affordable homes. We will break the cartel. We will use procurement arrangements to drive down the cost of building supplies. We will use all the powers available to us to do that. And Mr. Smith, people believe us. The public believes us. And that's why by 2 to 1, they do not believe in the government's policies. They understand that this bill is tinkering with local government and the Resource Management Act. Now, Mr. Chairman, I want to go back to the issue of affordability and the failure in this bill to actually deliver any affordability. Now, Mr. Smith's view on this issue, sir, is that, and what he told this House, is that he notes the complaint that the bill does not specifically refer to the building of affordable houses. He says we're being too cute. His reply is that the bill specifically mentions the Auckland Housing Accord, and that the Auckland Housing Accord very specifically, and I'm quoting the Minister, has provisions for ensuring that the houses that are built include a portion that are in the affordable range. So let's be very clear about what the Minister told this House. He says that the Auckland Accord has provisions for ensuring that the houses that are built under this accord include provisions to require that a portion are built in the affordable range. Well, let's talk about the wording that is in the Auckland Housing Accord. This is the best it gets. This is Nick Smith's idea of requiring affordable housing. Now, I quote, Mr. Chairman, from the Auckland Housing Accord. It says, all qualifying developments are required to give, Mr. Chairman, to give consideration to the provision of affordable housing. All qualifying developments are required to give consideration, all right, to the provision of affordable housing. That does not mean they are required to build a share of affordable housing. Conditions of consent may include requirements for a proportion of the development to include affordable housing. Conditions of consent may include requirements for a proportion. That is the best they can do. And we know from the reported comments from Auckland Council, from the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor, that they tried to negotiate with Nick Smith holding a gun to their heads. They asked for stronger language allowing a proportion of affordable housing to be included in qualifying developments. And that minister and his officials stonewalled and blocked it. They would not allow affordable housing. Now, the minister is shaking his head, but that does not tally with all the reported commentary on this issue. And that is why, Mr. Chairman, the very people the minister negotiated the first housing accord with, Auckland Council, are on record saying, and I want to quote from a news report, Radio New Zealand from the 1st of August, Auckland Council says it's not yet clear that new housing accord legislation will require genuinely affordable homes to be built. That, Minister, is from your partner, the person that you negotiated for 6 weeks with to produce the Auckland Housing Accord, and they say it is not yet clear that the new legislation will require genuinely affordable homes to be built. The Council says further that the Housing Accords and Special Housing Areas Bill shows nothing to support the affordability focus. That, Minister, has been utterly misleading in this House. There is nothing in this bill, and the language in the Auckland Housing Accords is weak. It is diluted from what Auckland Council required. And, Minister, if you were honest and candid with this House, you would admit to this House that you blocked stronger language requiring affordable houses in the negotiation of the Auckland Accord. So, the Minister cannot come to the House and pretend that his bill includes any kind of requirement for affordable housing, because it does not, and it would be misleading to suggest otherwise. So, after 6 weeks of negotiations and the last 2 months of this bill being before the Parliament, Auckland Council, who are the party to the very first housing accord, who came along to the Select Committee and, under questioning, told the members of the committee that they did not believe that any more affordable housing would be built as a result of this bill. And only in the last 3 weeks, they told Radio New Zealand that it's not clear that this legislation will require any genuinely affordable homes to be built. So, Minister, I invite you to get up. Tell us what language there is in the bill, what language there is in the Housing Accord. Unless I've missed something, Minister, if you think that language that says they are required to give consideration and that qualifying developments may include a share of affordable housing, unless you've got something better than that, then I challenge you to withdraw the comments that you've made before this House that have given the clear suggestion that this bill could require affordable housing, because I do not believe that that is the case, and it's a hoax to bring this legislation to the House pretending that this government is doing something substantial about affordable housing, when all this government is doing is bringing in some extra greenfields land, fast-tracking consenting, stuff that could all have been achieved by fast-tracking the Auckland Unitary Plan and giving it legal weight from notification, as Auckland Council requested. That could have been achieved, and much more. All of the other provisions in the Unitary Plan on affordable housing could have had legal weight from now, but, Minister, you refused to do that for some weird political reason, some hang-up that you and your colleagues, Minister, have with Auckland Council. You refused to do that. You've brought this tinkering bill to the House. And let's clarify something else. The Minister asked before how it could be both tinkering and draconian. Well, I'll tell you how it could be tinkering and draconian. It is tinkering in that it achieves very, very little to give Aucklanders any assurance that it will increase the supply of affordable housing or make housing more generally more affordable. It's draconian in that it takes democratic rights and freedoms away from local government.
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Chairman, the member has challenged